Hi everyone, David Aragona and Mike Beer here, taking a look at the DRF Saturday race of the day. It is race 11 at Belmont at the Big A, the Grade 3 Peter Pan. This one, the traditional early prep for the Belmont Stakes. We'll see if this race produces any potential contenders for that final leg of the Triple Crown. 10 runners signed on to contest this Peter Pan, which was a two-turn race now that it's run at Aqueduct for this stretch of, I think, 3 years before it moves to the new Belmont Park. But Mike, pretty interesting group signed on here. It does feel like there are two that are likely to attract the most support, those being Captain Cook, who was the beaten favorite last time in the Wood Memorial, as well as Hill Road, who's a horse that they tried to get on the Kentucky Derby Trail but had to miss his final prep due to illness.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see if that horse is ready to go now after having to miss a race. That's never a good sign. I mean, there are two horses that seem pretty talented, David, and they obviously both make a lot of sense in here. But it's not like they don't both still have something to prove.
With this being the race of the day, do note you can get free past performances for this and every race of the day. Just create that free account at DRF.com and you get access to free PPs for all of the races of the day, all access past performances, which include Classic, Formulator, Timeform US PPs. And speaking of the Timeform US past performances, you do get access to the Timeform US pace projector that we'll take a look at for this Grade 3 Peter Pan. And Mike, while there's no flag showing up indicating it favoring a particular running style, when I was handicapping this race, did kind of feel like Captain Cook was going to be able to make the lead if he wanted it, and probably make the lead pretty easily, because I don't see a ton of other speed in here outside of maybe the number 7 First Pitch, who did go gate to wire last time, but set a pretty slow pace in doing so.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it just feels like it feels like Manny Franco on Captain Cook is going to be able to get this horse a really good trip. If it's not right on the lead, he's going to be sitting right up close. And like you, I just didn't think they were going to be going that fast early.
Let's go through this field from the rail out, beginning with the number 1 Vassimo. He is one of 2 Todd Pletcher trainees in this race. And Mike, we know this horse has talent. He was pretty impressive winning on debut, came back and beat an overmatched field next time at Tampa Bay Downs when they stretched out to the 2 turns. That's a pattern Todd Pletcher has used a few times to catapult horses onto the Kentucky Derby Trail. This horse tried a couple of Derby preps in Louisiana and just looked like he didn't run complete races either time. He sort of disengaged on the far turn of the Risen Star. Last time in the Louisiana Derby, he was pretty wide. I still wanted to see more finish from him that day, though, and I'm just kind of wondering how much upside is really left for this horse.
Yeah, I wonder too. I mean, I think that those are very fair questions, David. Because like you, I liked his first 2 starts quite a bit, and I thought he was going to be able to at least contend in those Derby prep races down at Fairgrounds, and he really didn't. And as you were saying, not really focused all the time. It didn't look like he's getting outpaced in the middle of those races and losing all position, and then trying to run again at the end of the race when it's already over. Pletcher tried blinkers last time in the Louisiana Derby. That didn't work out, although that was a really fast pace. And the one thing that I noted about that race too is this horse was really wide. He saved ground around the first turn. Then he was really wide after that. And everybody that was affected in that race not only came from the back, but they stayed on the inside almost the entire way. So I don't know how much of an excuse it is. I don't know how easy it is to trust now, but this is a better spot for him. A slower pace is way better for this horse, I think. And he really does finish. I mean, his first 2 starts, I thought he finished like a horse who's going to get the 9 furlongs.
I'm going to be curious to see how he reacts to drawing the rail here, because it seems like they've been intentional to keep him outside of horses in those prior races. And from here, if he's quick enough, might be the best plan to just try to go forward and maybe see if he can make the lead over Captain Cook. We'll see if he's got the speed to do so. The number 2 is Happily Delusional, a horse who will not be forward in this race. He doesn't possess a whole lot of early speed, was towards the back of the pack in the early stages of the Federico Tessio last time. That race started to come apart at the end. He was picking up pieces. He is moving in the right direction, Mike, but he's going to need another pretty big step forward.
Certainly outran his odds last time, but I think you're right. He was kind of fortunate there, I think, to get a piece of that. It never looked like he was going to win. He's just got to improve a lot, even against this field.
The number 3 Surfside Moon is another horse that's coming out of the Federico Tessio. He also ran in the Withers 2 back, where he faced off against today's rival Captain Cook, and was a pretty good second that day after having some troubled trips during his 2-year-old campaign, particularly in that Laurel Futurity, a horse that looked like he had a better performance in him. He showed it in the Withers. Unfortunately, he got sick after that. That's why they didn't come back in the Wood Memorial. They only got, I think, 3 works into him prior to coming back in the Federico Tessio, and he ran pretty well, Mike. I mean, he didn't really have any late punch left at the end, but he got there in mid-stretch. It just seemed like maybe that layoff caught up with him in the late stages of that race. Now he's coming back second off of that freshening, and I wonder if we'll see a better performance here.
Yeah, I think you could certainly project a better performance here. I mean, overall, the trip was a good one in the Tessio last time, but you're right. He just got a little tired mid-stretch there. Not like it was a super weak field either, David. I mean, Pay Billy, I think we're going to see him in the Preakness. That horse is actually pretty good. His Withers, I thought, was a really strong performance. I know you liked him that day. He ran really, really well in there, but he was also kind of no match for Captain Cook. I mean, at least in my opinion, when I watched him, I mean, he took a big run at him. I felt like he had a real chance to make a race of it, and Captain Cook was just better than him. We'll see if he can turn the tables this time.
The number 4, Hill Road, is the more high profile of the two Chad Brown runners entered in this race. And he's a horse that began his career in Europe. They brought him over for the Breeders' Cup for his first try on dirt last year, and he ran really well to close for third into a slow pace, a race that totally held together on the front end. He was the only one that was moving from the back in the late stages of that race. Came back for his belated 3-year-old debut in the Tampa Bay Derby last time. We'll take a look at the stretch run of that race, and once again found himself in a race with no early pace. They went even slower than they did in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, so he had little chance to make up ground, but he was still trying all the way through the wire to run up into third. He galloped out strongly, but Mike, he's another one that had a slight setback out of this race, got sick, so they missed, I think, a planned start in the Wood Memorial, so rerouted into this Peter Pan, so he's still looking to build some momentum, and I kind of wonder how much pace he's going to get in this race.
I know. It seems like he could be compromised again. I mean, I don't really have any knocks on his first two dirt starts, David. You're right that, he was probably pace compromised both times. He was also given really good closers trips both times, I thought, by his riders. I mean, they never lost any ground with him. He had clean runs up the inside. He never changes his leads in the stretch, and he's never a threat late, and then he goes on past the wire. I really don't know what to make of him. I know that if he's a horse that takes money in here, I want to bet somebody else.
The number 5, McAfee, is coming out of a start in the Wood Memorial last time, where he was picking up some pieces to pass about half the field, finished 5th that day. Definitely a horse that has no problem getting this distance. It seems like 2 turns really works for him. He finally got out to it last time. Did have a brief moment of trouble on the far turn where he had to steady, but ultimately saved ground, got a pretty good trip overall. They're putting blinkers on here, Mike. I would imagine just keep him a little bit more engaged in the early stages because he can be a horse that leaves himself with a lot to do.
Yeah, true enough. We'll see if he can maybe just work out a little bit more of a clean trip this time and take the necessary step forward that he needs to take. I mean, I thought he had a little bit of a deceptively tough trip in the Gotham 2 starts back, and I thought he ran fine in there. Just a spot of trouble in the Wood last time. I don't think it was like major trouble, David, but it's not like he got a perfect trip in there either. I don't know how good he is. I still think he deserves a chance to prove it against horses like this. So he has the chance to move forward in here and be competitive.
The number 6, Uncaged, is a horse that was cut out to be a good one when he was unveiled at Saratoga last summer, winning impressively from just off the pace, going 6 furlongs. As a son of Curlin, looked like one that was going to do some big things when he stretched out. Following that, but unfortunately went to the sidelines, missed a whole lot of time, came back in a sprint race at Gulfstream where he was just outrun every step of the way, but they stretched him out to the mile in his last start. We'll take a look at the stretch run of that race, and as you can see, it was a muddy, sealed track, the same kind of surface that he won over on debut. So he made a 2 for 2 on wet going in this race, Mike. Probably going to get a fast track on Saturday. Some of the rain that's coming through Thursday to Friday should be out of the way by the time this race is run late on Saturday afternoon. So I guess that's a minor question if you can handle some fast harrowed going, but this might be a horse that's getting better with distance.
I think so. That's how I looked at him anyway. I mean, his debut, I thought he was pretty impressive winning on debut, and I didn't think he looked like a sprinter at all in that race. I just thought he won it kind of on talent. He obviously missed time after that. We just showed the stretch run there of his win, and he was staying very strongly, I thought, at the end of that race. I think it's worth going back and watching the full replay, though, too. This horse had real trouble at the start of that race, and he wound up way back. I wouldn't pigeonhole him as a horse who can't be up close to the pace if this pace is slow. I think he is going to get better as the distances get longer. He might still be overlooked in this race because he hasn't run a fast race yet. I don't know, David. I mean, I'm going to use this horse. I almost talked myself into him as a top pick in here.
I did note his Dams one big victory, a grade 3 event. It was on a wet sealed track, so I do want to see him do it on fast going, but I agree. He might be a horse with upside coming in here. The number 7 first pitch is going to be a gigantic price in this race, much the way he was last time when he got done the victory seemingly based on impossible prior form. Hadn't done any running in his first couple of starts, but he got to the front end and was able to get brave against the much weaker New York bred field. Mike, he's tough to make in this spot.
Yeah, they're just taking a shot here. And I mean, I guess if they do decide to run him and they don't scratch, maybe they'll just try to put him on the lead again. I doubt it works against this field.
The number 8 Captain Cook has to be considered a major player in this race. We talked about the Withers earlier, where he defeated today's rival Surfside Moon. We'll take a look at the stretch run of that race. And Mike, I thought that he got a very good trip to win this because they didn't go that quickly up front. He was sitting on top of a pretty moderate pace, and he was able to kick away in the late stages. I kind of was left with the question of his stamina coming out of this race, even though he got the 9 furlongs. Just the way he did it didn't seem like it was a stiffly run race for him. And he got a more true race in the Wood Memorial last time, where Rodriguez went a little quicker up front. He sat outside of him, and it just seemed like he couldn't quite get the 9 furlongs going the pace that they did in the Wood Memorial. So we'll see if he gets more comfortable up front, can slow it down a little bit more in this Peter Pan. I'm still not totally sold on him as a true classic distance horse, but he might get the right setup here.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not sold on him either. But I do think there could be just a better trip coming. And, if nothing else, no matter what you think of the Wood, the 1-2 finishers, we didn't get to find out in the Derby, obviously, but the 1-2 finishers both still have a chance to be pretty good and sort of towards the top of this division. So we'll see, how much easier this is for this horse. I did not like his Wood Memorial at all, but I recognize that this is a better spot for him.
The 9 Brereton's Baytown is going to be another gigantic price in this race. He's been gigantic prices, actually upwards of 100-1 in both the Rebel and Arkansas Derby. Maybe getting slight class relief here, but he just hasn't done the running to really merit a look in this spot.
Yeah, he's just hard to make a case for.
Then on the outside is the number 10 Lordship, who is going out for the Chad Brown barn, the other Brown runner in this race, stepping up into stakes company off one debut victory, which we'll take a look at here at Tampa Bay Downs. This was going 2 turns, so this is clearly a horse that they think is going to appreciate some added distance, and maybe that's why Chad Brown has picked out this spot, because you have to kind of step up into stakes company to get one of these 9 furlong races to go. They don't often card them at the allowance level. Mike, this horse has a ton of pedigree. He's by Gun Runner. He's the full brother to Hall of Fame, who's been doing some nice things in the graded stakes ranks as an older horse, but he's going to really have to step it up against a field like this.
Yeah, exactly. He looked pretty good to me winning the debut, David, but he also had a great trip in there. I mean, they really went fast in front of him in that race, and he just sat back and came running at the end. I mean, he certainly looks like he has some talent, and there's obviously upside here, but this is a pretty stiff test for this horse.
Let's go to our picks for this Saturday race of the day, the Peter Pan. And Mike, you're going to go with one of those Pletcher runners, Vassimo, drawn down towards the inside, just hoping that the slight class relief and maybe the experience can get him to put together a complete race this time.
Yeah, maybe a slower pace too could sort of work to his advantage. We'll see, David. I don't want to give up on him yet. I liked him in those 2 Louisiana races, and he didn't really run well either time, but I want to give him one more chance. I still think there's some talent here. There could be a better trip coming this time.
Yeah, as you can see, I left him out. I'll be afraid of him if he makes the front in here, because I think that's going to be the key to success for him, but we'll see if he can get there. I've been a fan of the number 3 Surfside Moon, as Mike noted earlier. I liked him in the Withers at a big price. Didn't get the job done that day, but I feel like he is a horse that does have talent, and I think we're going to see a better effort here than we did last time when he didn't have the ideal preparation in the Federico Tessio. So 3, 4, 8, 5 for me, and 1, 8, 6, 3 for Mike in this DRF Saturday race of the day, the Peter Pan. Good luck if you're playing the races this weekend.